Folks, our guest today is Josh Leggett. He is the owner of 4 Legs Pawsitive Training. Josh, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Jim. Happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm so looking forward to getting to know your story, learning a little bit more about you. We're neighbors here in Morgantown. Your office is right next to mine.
Yep.
But I don't know much about you, so I'm looking forward to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see you almost every day. Wave to you from a distance. So I'm really happy to have this nice conversation with you today.
Yeah, me too.
Positively West Virginia. Positively West Virginia.
Positively West Virginia is powered by Breezeline high-speed fiber internet and sponsored by Highmark West Virginia, Freedom Kia of Morgantown, and Humble Influence. With the help of these sponsors, we're able to share the positive business stories of West Virginians, including the one from today's episode.
Josh, let's start right at the top. For our listeners who may not know, give us an overview. Tell us about 4 Legs Pawsitive Training.
It's a new business. I just opened a little over 4 months ago.
Yeah.
I've been training dogs for a little over 11 years. I've been wanting to start a business for about 5 and never bit the bullet until recently. And I'm just grateful that I get to do what I get to do every day.
Yeah. How did the whole, idea of being involved with pets get started for you? Take us back.
Oh man, ever since I could remember, like you're in school and they ask, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I can remember vividly on all of those papers, veterinarian. Okay,
Yeah.
I knew I wanted to work with animals. I thought I wanted to be a veterinarian.
Yeah, you grew up in Ohio.
I did.
But you're here in West Virginia doing business now.
Mm-hmm.
What brought you to West Virginia?
For school. Yeah, I was originally pursuing a pre-vet track at WVU. I came up here about 13 years ago. I thought that I wanted to go to vet school, but my sophomore year of college, I stumbled upon the world of dog training and just ran with it. I decided to finish my degree in animal science and then pick up another degree. I have a minor in psychology. Once I really started to learn about animal behavior, I'm like, I want to really deep dive into this. So I added a couple more classes and got the minor in psychology. But yeah, I just decided not to go further than that because I already found what I wanted to do. I found my passion in life.
Wow.
Yeah, dogs are, a special part of me. Animals in general, special part of me.
Yeah.
Always really enjoyed them.
Josh, I love that. The fact that you hit on something, right? You didn't want to necessarily continue on with your education. You already found your passion, what you were created to do, it sounds like.
Yes, I did.
So talk a little bit about, getting into, and when you said you have your minor in psychology, my mind immediately went to there's not that much difference between people and dogs, but tell us a little bit about the connection there.
Obviously dogs are a big part of the people world.
Yeah,
a lot of people have dogs. There is a lot of differences though, and that's what I do. I teach people the language of dogs and try to teach people how to speak dog, what they're thinking, how they're thinking. Dogs over such a long time of domestication, we as people tend to maybe anthropomorphize a lot of different things, and we try to. I think it's kind of cool, people narrate their dog's thoughts, but not to the same degree of what I do. I deep dive a little bit further in because they can't rationalize like we as people do. Yeah. So they think a little bit different, and they're very much more like black and white creatures. What happens after this? What happens after this? And I'm a big positive reinforcement guy. So I really focus on teaching dogs appropriate things that are going to get them rewards.
Pawsitive, P-A-W,
yes.
S-I-T-I-V-E.
Yep, Pawsitive, P-A-W. And then,
great.
Yep, four legs.
Yeah, so
2 G's.
So again, go back to the schooling. How did you get exposed to dog training? You said you were, pursuing a veterinarian degree, an undergrad here at WVU to go on and get your veterinarian degree. How did you stumble upon dog training specifically?
So I was freshly in my sophomore year of college, and I needed a job. And I applied at a couple of different places, and I'm really grateful that Petco actually hired me. So I worked at Petco for about 11 and a half years.
No kidding. Doing dog training?
Most of my tenure at Petco was dog training. Yeah. Whenever I first started, I was just, 19 years old, eager to learn more. The dog trainer at the time shortly after I got there, up and left, and I was like, hey, I want to be the next dog trainer, and just kind of arrogant, but I was, taken seriously, and that's what I wanted. I wanted to learn more. I wanted to, expand, and I wanted to see what it was all about to give myself my best chance. And I got trained to be a dog trainer through Petco. I traveled to another store. They trained me. I came back to my store, and then they made me a trainer of trainers. So for years prior to COVID, they would send trainers to me specifically to get trained to do dog training in different stores. But yeah, after I started, I was also still in school, and I wanted to continue learning more. So I looked at all the classes available, and I also got into service dog training. I'm not sure if you're familiar, but like the Hearts of Gold organization here at WVU.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've worked with many of the dogs there.
Oh, wow.
I haven't been affiliated as much lately, but it was something that helped me become, such a better dog trainer, because their methodology very similar to what I do, and their mission, helping people is the same, and it was really helpful for me just getting started into dog training.
So you mentioned methodology. Do you work with like puppies, older dogs?
I work with all dogs. Yep, all dogs. I would say more so puppies, but any age dog can learn. Of course, the older the dog is, maybe like the more established a behavior might be, and it might take a little bit more, fine tuning, a little bit more repetition. But yeah, there's a lot of ways to train a dog. There really are. But I use positive reinforcement. I use a lot of environmental management, like, hey, we're seeing this behavior happen. How can we set up the environment to like have the behavior be less likely to happen, and then give the dog something that they desire for the better choice?
What are the most common things that people, like issues maybe, that they're having?
Coming when called, jumping, leash pulling, just barking at other dogs, normal dog things that we as people want to have better. So like, I never fault the dog. And, and that's something that I really try to instill in other people, like my clients, is not faulting the dog for being a dog and making a dog choice, because they can't rationalize. They can't think like we think. They can't, get that complex as much as we would want them to. We have to register, okay, this behavior keeps happening, and why? Why does it keep happening? And try to set them up for success, and repeat. Repetition is the best way to, get a dog to do what we're wanting them to do.
In a positive reinforcement mindset.
Yep. And there's so many different things that could be reinforcing to the dog. Obviously treats, but access to something, play with something, attention. One of the most common things, like you had just asked, jumping on people. And I typically try to work on having the dog sit for another person approaching, but I go a little bit deeper. I always try to think, how can I make this more real life? And I do a lot of like mock trialing. I start out like using treats, but then I eventually want to teach the dog that the person approaching is the cue to sit. Okay. We do a lot of a process called shaping. Hey, here's this behavior. I'm going to gradually build my way up to like the fullest, real life situation of the behavior.
Yeah, I love that, and it seems like a more humane way of going about it. Yeah, the positive training.
Absolutely. I don't use any punitive methods. I don't use any force. I don't use any like fear tactics. And I'm not bashing trainers that do by any means, but I support and back the way that I train, and science has proven to, make these methods work. Positive reinforcement's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, for sure.
But it, takes a lot of practice.
Yeah. Josh, I like to ask people their 30-second pitch.
Okay.
So I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit, but when you see somebody for the first time, you say, hey, Josh, you meet them, and what do you do? What do you tell them? What's your 30-second pitch?
It's a good question, Jim. I would say my 30-second pitch is, the desire of learning another language. And a lot of people have dogs, and not many people think of dogs as knowing another language. So what I do is I teach people how to speak dog, how to think like a dog, how to, engage with the world like a dog. And over time, if we start thinking a little bit more like them, it helps us get them to do what we want in our language, in our world, and trying to help them coexist and help them, build the bond. I'm just a bond builder. I'm just trying to get people to
I love it, Josh.
build bonds with
That's
their
great.
dogs.
It sounds like you're teaching the people as much as you're teaching the dogs.
It is mostly teaching people. Yeah, I can train dogs, that's for sure, and I can give people a lot of skills. But a lot of my job in the capacity that I train dogs is teaching people how to train their dogs, because I like to think that I'm the guide. People say like, you're my dog trainer. And I am to a degree, but I like to try to think that they're the dog trainer. I'm trying to make you the dog trainer, and I'm your helper, because, having a dog come to class once a week isn't going to, they're going to learn a lot, but they have to apply it in the day-to-day life. Yeah. And that's my
the
goal.
Repetition, like you said.
Yep. That's my goal, is to try to teach people how to apply it.
That's awesome.
Make it easier.
It's awesome. This is Positively West Virginia. We'll be right back.
Your prescriptions are designed to keep you healthy, active, full of life. At Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield, we're making vital medicine more affordable. Because when your prescriptions don't cost an arm and a leg, you can use those limbs for something more meaningful. Because life. Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield, West Virginia.
Stay connected with an unbeatable deal from Breezeline. Voted best in Mountaineer Country for their reliable, high-speed fiber internet for a low cost, Breezeline is the best gig in town. Here at Interaction Media, we rely on high-speed internet every single day to ensure we can deliver the best content possible for our clients and when we publish Positively West Virginia each week. That's why we use Breezeline. It's affordable, fast, and they're great people as well. Learn more about Breezeline's internet, TV, and mobile options at breezeline.com. Folks, we're back. We're visiting with Josh Leggett. He is the owner of 4 Legs Pawsitive Training, and that's Pawsitive. I love it. It's very cool.
Yeah,
Josh,
thank
you. What's the thing you're most excited about right now for your business?
Growth, but not like fully from a business growth aspect. I think that'll come, but more so personal growth, developing myself. I was a trainer at one location for a long time. And now that I'm fully on my own, it's kind of opened some doors. I can expand a little bit more, learn a little bit more, and maybe even apply more fun games to training classes, teach different behaviors that maybe I wasn't able to teach. So I'm really excited about the unknown of what I can do, being solo on my own.
Well, I love it. First of all, Josh, congratulations on starting your business. What was the date when you first opened?
So I can tell you a story.
Yeah, please do.
So 5 years ago, I was driving to work, and people for years prior to the 5 year span were telling me, you should start your own business. You should start your own business. Always telling me you're really good at what you do, and it would be awesome if you did it on your own. And it was scary, really scary. So I never really thought about it, but I was driving to work one day, and the thought came into my mind. I couldn't think about anything else until I got there. I got in the parking lot. I opened up my note section and I wrote it. I put it in, 4 Legs Pawsitive Training. This was November 21st, 2020. Wow. I put it in there, and periodically I would see it. I would, skim by. I'd see the notes, 4 Legs Pawsitive Training. It was always back there. It just never, added up to what I needed it to get started, and then I let the universe kind of take over, and I finally, saw some doors open that needed to open for me to be able to pursue it, and I think it was the perfect time for me to pursue it. And to answer your question about when I started, and reason why I brought this story up,
I love this backstory.
It was November 21st is when I got the keys to my building, and I didn't even know that. Yeah, just a few months ago. I didn't even know that. It was just, one of the many things. It was just
what was the date that you wrote the thing down?
November 21st.
What?
Yeah.
So 5 years later.
5 years later, exactly. And I didn't know that until maybe I was in there for a month, and I was looking at that note, and I was like, November 21st? I just got my keys on November 21st. Yeah, so just one little tiny thing of
wow. That's so
meant to
good.
be, right?
Yeah, that's great.
But yeah, November 21st is whenever I open the doors.
I love it.
I got
So,
the keys.
Yeah, thanks for the backstory.
Yeah.
I mean, you did a much better job of asking your own question and answering it. That's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
So, what was it like? On that date, you get the keys and you walk into your building, which is right here in Morgantown,
Yeah.
Saberton. You're right next door neighbor to Interaction Media, my company.
Yep.
You walk in there. What goes through your mind?
Everything and nothing. Big deep breath of like, wow, I can't believe I did this. What the heck did I just do? I felt like I was pretty successful where I was at for such a long time, but I just had to give myself a chance. And that was like absolutely terrifying whenever I opened up the door. Like, okay, this is it. I'm doing this. So I was scared for sure. Starting a business was, kind of scary, but I was also eager. I was really eager whenever I opened those doors. Like, hey,
Amazing.
Here's the space. What can I do with it? And now I've been growing. Growing the space. I'm right next to the rail trail. You know that. You're right here by the rail trail too. So
great.
I love whenever the weather's nice because then I can expand outside the building and do a lot of stuff like out in the real world.
Super cool.
Yeah, man.
I love it. So, here you are, several months in, not even a year, not even a half a year. yet.
No, yeah.
How's it going?
I'm pretty brand new.
How's it going?
Much, much, much better than I had anticipated. I was so nervous, and people were telling me, "Oh, you don't have to be nervous. You're just so good at what you do." And it was really hard, So I think yourself is typically your biggest hurdle, and overcoming that was probably the hardest part. But as I've gotten into a rhythm of things, as I've understood that I'm not going to have consistency in terms of pay, I think that was probably a big hurdle. Like I had my hourly pretty consistently for such a long time, and now I'm fully exclusively sales based. So that was a bit of a adjustment period, to say the least.
Sure. You didn't anticipate that, or you did anticipate?
I had it in the back of my mind, but I didn't know until I was fully in it. I think it was one of those things that I wasn't going to know until I was fully in it.
Well, it's interesting because, you hear people who are not familiar with entrepreneurship or small business ownership, especially, they talk about, hourly wage and minimum wage and all those things. And I sometimes laugh to myself when I hear those arguments, because I remember starting out as a small business owner. There were days where I was making no wage. For days on end, and then all of a sudden you'd get paid, and you're like, okay, all right, this is good.
Yeah, for sure. That's been something that I've learned over the past couple of months. Is like I've had not great weeks. I'm just starting out, but I've also had amazing weeks that have buffered the not so. So it's been awesome. I've been really, really enjoying it.
That's so good.
I still miss like where I was and what I used to do, but I'm just grateful. I don't necessarily miss it like I want to go back. I miss it because it's such a big part of my life.
Sure. How many years? 11 years or so?
11 years at the Petco.
That's a long time.
I was freshly 19 when I started there. So it's something that's near and dear to my heart. But it brought me here. It got me started. It got me, the tiny taste of the dog training world. And I just kind of ran with it from there.
Yeah. This is Positively West Virginia. We'll be right back.
In a world obsessed with leadership, what if the real key to success is followership? We hear it all the time. Be a leader, take charge. But what if the most impactful people aren't the ones leading from the front? In Humble Influence, I explore how humility, collaboration, and shared purpose empower followers to create meaningful change in business, organizations, and relationships. Discover the strength of true followership with Humble Influence.
Folks, we're back. We're visiting with Josh Leggett. He owns 4 Legs Pawsitive Training here in Morgantown. Josh, what's the vision for long term? I mean, I know it's hard to have a vision when you're not even a year old yet, but tell us a little bit about where you see this all going.
I just want to keep helping people. I want to do it to the level that I'm doing it, to where I can also focus on balance in my own life. In terms of growing and like making it something bigger, that is potential. But like right now, I'm just so in the moment. I'm so in the moment, and I'm really just grateful for where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
I'm just taking it as it is.
That's good.
You know, I'm going to do my first year, second year, third year, and hopefully I just keep, helping people, helping dogs, and living as much as I can outside of the work environment as well.
Yeah, that's a good mindset.
Yeah.
So, in terms of your business, what kind of impact do you feel that your company's having here in the local marketplace?
Positive reinforcement dog training is a beautiful thing, and I'm not the only one, but I'm I like to think that I'm special. A lot of people think that I'm special too. You have to really like people as well, and I'm not just a dog trainer, but I'm a people teacher. So hopefully my impact is teaching people and having them learn that they can engage with their dog in a really appropriate manner without getting upset with them for making a bad choice, and rewarding so many good behaviors in a dog family helps a lot with like stress in the family. Dog is chasing down their kid, and kid screaming and jumping and running away. Everybody gets upset. But if we had the dog, understanding stay while the kid is walking past or running past, or come when called whenever they do make that dog decision of like going towards them because they were really fun. Hopefully just helping have some more peace in the home, because living with dogs isn't always peaceful. Like they make decisions that we wouldn't deem as appropriate. So, like navigating those decisions and trying to have people understand like how to work through them and how to like prevent certain things is, hopefully my biggest impact is like really helping people feel more comfortable in their home, and then also helping dogs, because so many dogs are obviously in shelters for reasons, and unfortunately the reasons primarily stem from behaviors that we don't like, running off, jumping all over people, just, inability to control the dog. And as unfortunate as that is, I'd like to think, a lot of the dogs that I work with, potentially saving them from the shelter because they're learning skills, they're learning things that are going to keep them out of there.
Yeah. Let me ask you, because you bring up a good point, when somebody gets a dog for the first time, maybe they're a first time dog owner, and they've got these behavioral issues that they're dealing with and don't know how to deal with them, and they take them to the shelter or things like that, or even we've seen a lot worse, right?
Yeah.
You've read stories about abandonment and all that kind of stuff.
Yes, for sure.
What advice do you have for people that are, when they get the dog, is it best to like start training immediately?
Yeah.
Talk about that, please.
I think if you're thinking about getting a dog, you should probably start, educating yourself about positive reinforcement dog training, because if you're more prepared, even a little bit, it's one of those things where you're not going to know fully until you're in it. But if you have a little bit of tools in the toolbox of like, rewarding dogs for good potties outside instead of like,
smacking them with a newspaper.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't support, that like dominance theory and like the more punitive methods. I'm a positive reinforcement advocate. And I think, if people are considering getting a dog, they need to, consider how much work it is, not just like physical work, like trying to get the dog to, get exercise and go for walks, but like the mental work that it is as well, like mental work for having routine with the dog, mental work for, teaching them specific behaviors that you want them to do. And I think before you get a dog, that would be ideal. I feel like a lot of the times people maybe prepare mentally, but don't do as much research prior to getting a dog, and then they get a dog, and then it's not all sunshine and rainbows. It's like as much as puppy parenthood, as much as it would be cool to just be awesome all the time, it's not. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful that it's not, because it enables me to help people a little bit more, because dogs are still dogs. And hopefully, throughout my time working with them, working with the people, they can, understand them a little bit better.
And they can, all pets can certainly bring tremendous amounts of joy.
Yeah,
right, to people.
Absolutely. I have a whole house of them, Jim.
Yeah, I do believe they're God's creatures, and we have to steward them and take care of them and really, make it a positive quote unquote.
Yep.
Yeah, I see what I did there, Josh.
Yeah, for
Make it
sure.
a positive experience for the dog, but also the owner
Yeah.
as well, or owners or whatnot.
Absolutely.
So I think what you're talking about is really, really good, because it's not just about educating the dog; it's about educating yourself too.
Absolutely.
And
So
let's face
much.
it. I mean, I don't know that people realize this, but when you adopt a dog from a shelter, or you buy a dog, maybe a purebred or something like that from a breeder, it's a lifetime commitment.
It is.
Honestly.
It is. And a lot of those dogs, you don't know the history.
That's right.
They could have been through some not great things, and they could have also just not been exposed to a lot. And sometimes, dogs lack confidence that are from the shelter. I love people that get a shelter dog, but those dogs need consistency. They need a lot of rewards. They need a lot of time. They need a lot of patience, so that we can, allow them to realize that they're not in this scary place anymore. And I work with a lot of different dog behaviors, but one of my favorite things is probably, it's unfortunate, like the dog comes in initially as nervous and scared, but the fact that it's already there is one thing, but I really like watching them grow and becoming more confident and becoming more comfortable. It's just such a beautiful thing.
I can imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, and I really, really enjoy
There's a
that part
parallel,
of it.
Josh. I think personally, maybe I'm wrong on this, but it's like when you're bringing home a pet. Typically, it's like a foster situation. You know what I mean? Like, we're fostering, and there's in the foster system with people, these children oftentimes have all sorts of traumas. We don't know where they're coming from. They're people, right? But they have these these things that they went through, and I see the similarity with these shelter dogs and those kinds of things too. So. Yeah, I think it's really interesting. I think you're definitely doing some important work here in West Virginia. Is there anything, like a story that stands out as something like interesting that you've experienced in your time doing?
There's so many. There's so many, Jim. But dog training obviously has brought me a lot of joy, like personally, but it's also brought me a lot of people and a lot of like pets in my own home. I have an entire house full of animals. It's a beautiful thing. I love it. I love showing off all of my animals. But two of my dogs are rescue situations. One of them is from a breeder. I've had her since she's a lab. I have an 8-year-old lab that I got from a breeder, and she's she's 9 now, Jim.
Wow.
She's getting older. But she's my pride and joy. But then we also have, between my wife and I, we have a couple other dogs, and her dog specifically, she rescued whenever she was about 7 months old. Ruby is almost 10 now. She rescued her 7 months, and then she actually brought Ruby to dog training class. Word of mouth is such an important part of my business, and somebody that I had worked with previously had recommended me, and then Ruby came to school, and then more school, and then more school, and then more school, and then I married her mom.
That's great.
Yeah, so Ruby's rescue
Ultimate
situation. Yeah, she was so nervous, and that was the same kind of piggybacking on that same situation of like nervousness. She really wasn't exposed. She was 7 months old and tied up. Didn't really get a lot of exposure, but then she, got to come to class and learn that other puppies can be really fun. Learn that other people can be really fun, and she's a blessing. She's really, really special. But then my other one, I have a 3-year-old golden doodle. He is our little baby. He's 20 pounds. His name is Ducky, and it's a unfortunate situation that he was in. I'm not going to go into drastic detail, but about 11 months old, his former owner called me and said that he was scheduled to be euthanized for some behaviors that he was going through that were pretty serious. And I had known the dog for his whole life, and I. It's awful to even think about that because he is just perfect. He's just an absolute angel and just like so special, loves everybody, loves our dogs, loves all of our other animals, and loves us. He just needed structure. He needed exercise. He needed love. He needed just a place that really gave him the time.
Sounds again like people.
Yeah, for sure.
There's a lot of parallels, Josh.
Yeah.
With your stories. I love them.
Oh, thank you.
So I got to ask, and maybe I'm putting you on the spot, but
okay.
Are there a couple of breeds that you recommend in terms of good behaviors, and maybe some not so?
The retrievers are typically notorious for being family dogs, and I think any dog has potential. I think any dog can be the best family dog possible, but I think breeds do play a role. Like if you're getting a herding dog, be prepared that you need to probably give them a lot of extra exercise than what you would need to do for just a lab or a golden. And I see that a lot. I see that, so frequently people, I love all dogs. I do. I love all breeds, but certain breeds need a little bit extra. And whenever a parent comes into me, this dog is doing this, like, not surprised.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised because of the level of like what they're getting in their normal home environment.
So even again, when you're talking about research the breed.
Yeah,
and know what you're getting
absolutely.
into. I think that might be a good thing.
I think researching the breed is critical, but every breed has potential to be a really, really, really great listener and to maybe struggle with things, because ultimately dogs are dogs. They think similarly to all other dogs. But yeah, the breed disposition, of higher energy breeds, of course, probably need a little bit more, but you also might get exceptionally lucky and you get a healer or a shepherd that just likes to lay around and be active when you want to be active instead of like active.
Yeah, that's great. Josh, I love the fact that you're from Ohio.
Yep.
Came to West Virginia University for school, and here you started your business in West Virginia. I love that, and I love that story arc. What do you see things as a new business owner now in terms of opportunity in West Virginia that others might be overlooking?
I would assume. I think there's small businesses coming up all over. So, and there's niches, there's dog training that happens, of course, and me starting out into a business, but there's other niches of, other service work like cleaning or, electrical work or, any trade, any skill. And a lot of those people are probably making a lot of money for other people. And starting a business is maybe something that they've thought about, maybe something that they've considered. It's just a matter of taking the leap.
So what advice would you give people in that regard?
I would say starting a business is kind of like raising a puppy. It's really rewarding. Everybody likes puppies. Right? Everybody really enjoys puppies.
They're cute.
And they're super cute. They're super, smushable, and they like to be silly and like to have fun, and they're also kind of nuisances sometimes, and that's why I get to help people, and I get to help people, engage with a puppy. But puppy parenthood can be like a roller coaster. It can have like really, really positives. It can have some lows, and that's something that every pet parent needs to learn about having a puppy. But having a business has been really similar. Like really, really excited about it. Really excited. You get in, you get the puppy, like, oh man, this is cool, but this is a lot. This is a lot. It's a learning experience, for the people. So, I think if you have a skill, I think if you have a trade, but then you also have owned a puppy and have like raised a puppy from the beginning, and gotten to ride the roller coaster of puppy parenthood. I think that would be something to really kind of internalize and
good. So
believe in yourself.
Good advice.
That's it, man. Believe in yourself.
My takeaway from that, Josh, is in business, one day your small business could be licking your face. The next minute, picking up poop.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
That's the analogy. How's that?
Yeah, man. Now, if you want to teach a dog how to pick up their own poop and, bag it up, you let me know how you do that.
That's growing a business right there. Finding a problem and solving for it. I love it. That's really good. Thanks for going down that path for a few minutes.
Absolutely.
You mentioned, word of mouth. How do you get the word out about a new business these days? What's the best thing that's working for you right now?
I think, I'm grateful that I've been doing it for a long time.
Yeah.
I've been in the Morgantown area training dogs for over a decade. So I think that's been helpful. And then people still have, sought me out at my former location and they've found, okay, he's not there anymore. Where's he at? And had found me specifically. Yeah. And I think people are getting new dogs all the time. And where'd you get your dog, or where'd you get your dog trained, or I know that you had said, whenever you got your dog, you went to this place, you went to that place, and I just think everybody likes to talk about dogs. Yes. Okay, and the conversation of dog behavior comes up in those conversations. So word of mouth is huge. I have a lot of people that say, hey, this person sent me, this person, said this thing about how you could help me. And I just love that. I love whenever I see, new people, because of somebody else. It happens to me all the time. It happens to me, and it's a special thing. I really like learning from new people. I like to meet new people, and I think my outlook on it with like the people part of it has really helped with the word of mouth part. Because I treat people as people, and I empathize with them, and I think that it's important to be kind. And my approach in that regard to engaging with people has probably helped the word of mouth situation. Sure. But then social media, I think having a business Facebook page has probably been hugely impactful for getting it out there for sure.
Yeah, that's great. What about technology? Are you using technology in your business? What's that look like?
I have a website.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's flptdogs.com. So FLPT is the acronym for 4 legs, or 4 legs positive training.
Yeah.
And my slogan, so like I put this in my notes whenever I had first developed the business name, is the flipped. Okay. Yeah. FLPT is flipped. Yeah. So get your dog's behavior flipped with 4 legs positive.
Yeah, you're a marketing guy too, not only a
4
dog
legs
trainer.
Positive training.
I love it. Yeah.
So I have the website. I used GoDaddy as the.
What's your website address? Because we'll make sure that that's in the show notes as well.
flptdogs.com.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
You may have said that, but
I did, but that's okay.
Good. Yeah, that's good.
Flipdogs.com.
Okay, good. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what about in terms of training? Do you use any technology in your... I'm always asking because it's such a major force today, especially with generative AI and so forth.
Not a whole lot. I use, things that are naturally occurring around a good bit. I don't use a whole lot of technology in my general practice. I would say in terms of like my extent of using technology, like a lot of dogs go through reactivity of like different sounds and different stimuli and like, TV, dog barking at a sound of another dog on TV. Yeah. Dog hears another dog outside barking and they want to bark back. And
they hear a doorbell on the radio.
Exactly, Jim. Okay. Exactly.
Right.
Yep. All of those triggers that happen day to day in the house, knocking on the door, the doorbell, the car door. I use those things via the sound. Okay, cool. So I like to teach people how to teach their dog to like stay in a place, whether that's like on a mat, on a rug, just like in a relaxed state, and then gradually desensitize them to that same sound, but very slowly. Dogs can't just be like, hey, I'm going to be silent and then full extent of the doorbell, full extent of the car door, full extent of the dog barking. You have to build it up. So I use YouTube dog barking compilation sounds at such a low volume. Yeah. And there's some other sounds that I'll look up specifically to like desensitize a dog and counter condition their thought process behind like that specific trigger.
So that brought up a question as you're talking in my mind. So you're training do people bring their dog to your location then, or do you go to them, or is there a combination of so?
It's a
so
good question. It's a combination. Whenever I was first starting out, I did more going to them, but now that I've kind of built up my week of like having people here, I would say 80% is probably in my facility. I still do in-home training whenever dogs need it, but doing it in a facility in a completely neutral environment kind of allows dogs to learn from like a blank slate environment instead of like the environment that they're used to, because the environment that they're used to is probably already built up in their mind of like this association, this behavior is probably more likely to happen. So starting teaching the behavior in a neutral space can be really helpful for the dog's brain, and then carry that learned behavior into their normal environment. But let's say the dog might be struggling in the normal environment. I also periodically go to people's homes and help out in that regard too, in the dog's normal space.
Cool.
I also like going to like Lowe's, Tractor Supply, other pet-friendly places that present a lot of distractions. It just depends. It's like just starting out, I think it would be good to be in a really calm, neutral environment. But as you start to like proof a behavior and make behaviors happen anywhere, you have to practice in different places. Dogs can't generalize. They can't be like, okay, I come when called in the house, but then I go out to the park. Come when called, probably out the door. You kind of have to practice in different places. So it just depends on the dog. It depends on, I'm always going to do what advocates best for the dog. So if that pet parent needs additional help in different locations, I'm going to make it happen.
That's so interesting. Josh, you're a leader, you're a business leader. You're a leader here in the Morgantown community here in West Virginia. You're leading. What would you say is one of the most important leadership traits of a business leader today?
I'm going to go back to liking people. You have to like people. And something like, I love my job. I love my career. I love what I've been, chosen to do in the world. And I love that I've, pursued it to the degree that I pursued it. And now I'm just like growing and starting this own business and growing even more. Jim, I forgot what the question was.
Leadership trait.
Oh, liking people.
Yeah.
Yeah, liking people. People always ask me with my career of like, you get to play with puppies all day, right? You get to see dogs. Must be so rewarding, and it is. It is. I see dogs a lot. I get to play with puppies. That's for sure. But that is nowhere near to the extent of the what I do. I have to like people.
Yeah, you have to deal with the owners.
People are just so special to the dog world and to the dog community. And sometimes during that conversation, people will be like, "Oh, that's great. You don't have to deal with people much. You get to hang out with dogs." I'm like, "No, you got to really like people because the dogs come from somewhere, right?" And I'm of course, I like to teach dogs. I really do. But I think it's even cooler if the dog is educated in their normal home environment under their, person, under their companion of their human at home. So, you have to like people. I think if you're going to be in business and you want to avoid people, I think that's kind of counterintuitive. I think it's going to be important that you have to really enjoy people and celebrate them for their differences. That's one thing that I've been extremely grateful for is like getting to like meet a lot of new people.
Yeah,
a lot of new people, a lot of different backgrounds.
That's great.
Yeah,
that's great. So you're a new business owner. What advice would you give to somebody who's a new business owner here in West Virginia? Maybe they're just getting started. You've been through it. Breathe.
Meditate.
Yeah.
Take it day by day. Try not to get too forward thinking. I felt like that was a really hard thing for me in the beginning, was thinking too far ahead and almost getting worked up about it. So I think, just doing what you can every day, not being bent out of shape because you didn't do that, but like, hey, I want to do this the next day. And I think, starting a new business for me, I'm still brand new. You've been in business for how long?
15 years.
That's a long time. I have a lot to learn. So it's scary.
Yeah.
I don't know if you still get scared of 15
Every day.
years later.
What time is it?
Yeah. So yeah, it's scary.
good.
Overcoming the fear, I think, is an important thing for a new
good.
business owner, and just riding the path, riding the wave, riding the roller coaster.
It almost sounds like, control the controllables, and do what you can do. And
as hard as that is.
Yeah, as a person who has multiple people working here, 15 or so employees, it's, I try to focus on only do what only I can do. So these days it's like I say I'm working on things that are big, new, and broken. And a lot of times I'm not in the minutia. I'm working on the new things or the big things or the only things that I can do or the things that sometimes are broken around here. You got to take care of that. Even the cleaning the toilets.
Yeah.
So.
What is a minutia?
Minutia. That's like the getting down into the weeds. They say, getting down into the little things.
I like learning new things.
Yeah. So you got the macro, and then the minutia is down here. Like, do I need to know every single thing?
I see. Yeah. I really like learning new things. I like to teach people. Cool. But throughout my tenure, I've also worked with a lot of people that English isn't their first language.
Yeah.
So that's been really, really cool for me.
But that's interesting.
Yeah. So.
For sure.
I help them learn the language of dog, and I'm a learner. I'm always learning. So I have picked up things along the way, but it's something that you need to practice. Yeah. I've had people Spanish as their first language. I've had people Arabic as their first language. So I've, learned different little sayings. Like one that's probably stuck with me the most is siempre aprendiendo, which is always learning, because I really stand by that. Yeah. And it's just cool. It's just really, really cool to like meet so many new people awesome. And learn with them as I'm teaching them.
Yeah. Josh, we've covered a lot in this interview today. It's been very eye-opening to me to learn about what you do as a not only as my neighbor, but as somebody who has a couple of, we have one dog now. We just lost one a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Jim.
Yeah, we had two Chihuahuas, teacup Chihuahuas, Daisy and Petunia. We lost Petunia.
Oh.
She had a heart issue.
I'm so sorry.
But yeah, it's tough thing to go through.
But
hard so I think I know a little bit, and then I talked to you, Josh, and it's man, there's a whole world of positive training that we could all learn from with our four-legged friends. So
Jim,
is there anything?
Can I tell you about my pets?
Yeah.
I have a whole house of them.
Yeah. Please do.
So I have my 3 dogs that I've already mentioned, the 2 doodles in my lab.
Yeah.
We also have 4 cats.
Wow.
2 birds. And I'm going to go back to one of the birds in question, but I'll get through my full list. A couple lizards. I have 10 fish tanks in the house. In my barn right beside my house, I have an indoor koi pond. It's a little over 1,000 gallons, which is freaking awesome. I love it. It's really, really cool, kind of like a zen place. And outside we have 45 chickens. And we're newly parents of 2 baby turkeys that are a few months old. So animals are my life. It's a lot of work. That's why I focus on balance between like my work in my career, but then also work at home. But like I said, I wanted to go back to the bird situation. So I have a small parrot. She's called a green-cheeked conure. Her name is Marley. I've had Marley. She's gonna be 12 this year, and I've had her since she was 5 months old. I got her shortly after I started at Petco, and shortly after I started at Petco, I became a dog trainer too. I didn't have a dog. I didn't have a dog for a year and a half while I was teaching people how to train their dogs. I had my little bird. I was just so into it, and you can train anything. If something likes something, you can teach them how to do stuff. My bird knows how to do so many little party tricks. She'll spin on a perch. She'll do flips on a perch. She'll wave hello. She'll shake hands. She'll show me her wings on a specific hand gesture.
Oh my gosh.
All for little sunflower seeds, and it's just like building the bond with any animal is really cool, but you don't typically think about a bird being able to like have that complexity of like their learning ability. And that's something that I feel like made me a better dog trainer, is not having a dog for a period of time while being a dog trainer, because I trained my bird. I trained, the cats that I had at the time to do behaviors for treats. It was just such a cool thing.
Great
and
insight.
It can be applied anywhere, of course, with people, but like any animal for sure. A chicken that I had, unfortunately, so I have a lot of chickens, and I like all of my chickens. They all have names, but I had this one chicken that I trained a lot. She would come when called. She would jump up like for different food. And I got her to start from the ground all the way to jumping up like 3 foot high in the air. But she was always really, really cool. And moral of that is like you can, with a positive reinforcement approach and something that likes to eat, you can probably teach them just about anything. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
Just a matter of time.
That's great stuff.
Yeah. And then, I got a dog primarily because, all of my friends, we were hanging out one night, playing cards, and the question came up, Josh, why don't you have a dog? You're the only one here that's a dog trainer.
That's a good question, right?
And I'm like, I don't know. I'm just, I guess I'm just not ready yet. If I ever get a dog, I'm going to get a, female chocolate lab. And that came out of my mouth.
Yeah.
That word came out of my mouth, and then people were on their phone looking at different places. Where can you get a female chocolate lab? I found somewhere in Nashville, Tennessee, outside of Nashville. It was a random Thursday. I had told my buddy, I was like, I'm not going to get this dog alone. So he and I made this 9-hour one-way trip, stayed in my car that night, woke up early in the morning, did another 9 hours back with this little puppy.
Wow.
And the rest is history. She's a special, special dog. Unfortunately, she's getting older, so she can't do as much as she used to. But yeah, that was just a cool thing in my life. And I'm just so grateful for her and grateful for all of my animals. But yeah, my bird and my dog definitely have a special place for sure.
Yeah. Our guest once again today is Josh Leggett. Josh owns 4 Legs Pawsitive Training here in West Virginia in Morgantown. Josh, this has been awesome. Great conversation. We're neighbors. Now I got to know a little bit about you.
Literally.
And
I can throw a dog toy very easily over to your door.
Exactly. Yes, please do. That'd be fun. We'll have it. Yeah.
I would actually love for you guys to periodically help me with dogs. I can teach the dogs in the solo environment, but one thing that dogs need is repetition with other people.
Yeah.
If you ever have somebody over here that's on break and hey, you want to go see if Josh has a dog over there, I can let people pet dogs.
Jimmy's shaking his head. I think Jimmy Murray is our producer today, and I think he's hearing that.
I don't want to take everybody away from you, but if they want a little bit of a break, a little bit of dog therapy, I could use the help periodically.
But Josh, it's been a real honor to have you on the podcast today.
Thanks,
I really
Jim.
appreciate what you're doing, what you're bringing to West Virginia, and I just want to encourage you to keep up the great work.
I appreciate that so much. It's a blessing. I'm grateful that I get to do what I get to do. I get to be next to a lot of great people and a lot of amazing animals.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to take any day for granted. I'm just going to keep riding the roller coaster. Keep doing the business, but training the puppy, right? Riding the waves.
Exactly. We're honored to help share the story.
Thank you.
So, folks, that's a wrap on another episode of Positively West Virginia. If you or someone you know would be a great guest on our show, drop us a line on our website at positivelywv.com. Please continue to encourage us. We appreciate the positive and reinforcement, Josh.
Yeah, and it's POS for you, right?
That's right.
PAW for me.
That's right. Exactly. And make sure you share these stories, just like we did talking with Josh Leggett and 4 Legs Pawsitive Training. It helps his business, helps Positively West Virginia. So yeah, that's all for today. On behalf of our entire Positively West Virginia team, including our producer today, Mr. Jimmy Murray behind the controls, and soon to be volunteer worker at 4 Legs Pawsitive Training next door,
absolutely.
helping
Give
to
him the title.
training some dogs. I'm your host, Jim Matuga. Stay positive, West Virginia.
We'd like to thank our partners, Highmark West Virginia, Freedom Kia of Morgantown, Interaction Media, Humble Influence, and our studio sponsor, Breezeline, for helping to share these positive stories. If you'd like to become a sponsor of the Positively West Virginia podcast, visit positivelywv.com/sponsor.